What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the show, episode number 9. It's getting hard for me to do these finger numbers now. I'm like trying to figure it all out. But we're episode number 9 of the Mission Jimpossible podcast. So happy, blessed, and grateful as always to have you guys with me. And without further ado, let's get into it. So last week we tacked on to our Law of Attraction series. This week we're going to go in a little bit of a different direction. I actually have a training, success type training that was passed down from some of my mentors in our wonderful organization that I wanted to share with you guys. Basically what it is it's different ideas that I've heard mentioned over and over and over in hearing the different mentors that we have speak. They're all amazing. They all put their own spin on things, but these are 3 principles or 3 ideas that come up consistently, and I've started to call them the success pyramid. So these 3 ideas are super important. They all play off of each other, and when used in conjunction with each other, they provide an amazingly solid foundation for success in your life or your business, relationships, whatever really you're looking to see more success with and more abundance in. You can apply these 3 principles. And little known fact, the pyramid or the triangle is considered the strongest structure from like an architectural standpoint or just building standpoint. That's why the Egyptians chose to build pyramids, and that's why they've withstood the test of time, because they are so strong. So that's kind of why I named it what I named it. And I think it's something that is foundational for your success in whatever you're trying to pursue. So here we go. The first principle of the success pyramid, let me flip back to my notes here. Of course, I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Oh, what am I doing? I was on the right page. Sorry about this, guys. Bear with me. Whoop. Here we go. Okay. So the 3 legs, let's call them, of the success pyramid are: number 1, having a positive mental attitude, or PMA. So basically, this is the idea that you want to stay positive as much as possible. And we've talked a little bit about this in the past in other episodes, more specifically with regard to the law of attraction and how staying in that zone of positivity helps you attract what you want in life. But this is more so just being in a positive frame of mind to help you deal with everyday life. I mean, look, we're all going to go through things. Life happens to all of us. And to be honest, if you go through a life that's perfectly perfect and nothing ever happens to you, you're probably not doing shit. So you're probably living a boring life. You're staying in your comfort zone. You may even be a hermit and just never leaving your house, because if you set foot outside that door, things are going to go wrong in some capacity, and you're going to need to be able to stay in a positive frame of mind and weather the storm. So negative moments are okay, but just never let it get to you internally. Figure out ways to process what's going on, sit with it, feel it, use it for, future data, future information of how you react to certain situations. Use it as a teachable moment for yourself, but then move on from it. And I have here in my notes that gratitude is a key component of maintaining that positive frame of mind. So maybe institute a gratitude practice every day. Write 3 things, 5 things, 10 things that you're grateful for. A cool concept that I heard of a while ago is a gratitude jar. So every night before you go to bed and every morning when you wake up, you get a plastic jug or a jar. I have one in my room. It's a giant pretzel container. And you can decorate it however you want, put construction paper on it, write gratitude jar on it, cut a slot in the top like it's a piggy bank. And every morning when you wake up, every night when you go to sleep, take a pad, write something you're grateful for on it, fold it up, and just drop it in the jar. Write another one, drop it in the jar. So three things, 5 things you drop in the jar in the morning and at night for 30 days, 60 days, and then you go reread them. Open up, if the jar's getting full and you have to go empty it, maybe before you empty it, reread those pieces of paper. And I haven't gotten this far with it yet, but I haven't, let me back up. I haven't implemented the gratitude jar yet. I have the jar. I just need to get around to setting it up and starting to use it. But it's a cool concept, and I do plan on using it. And when I do start to use it, I plan on taking it further. And if you have people over your house, you know how when you go to someone's house, they may be like, hey, take your shoes off at the door. Well, why don't you have people write down something they're grateful for and drop it in your jar at the door? So that way it's twofold. It gives them a hit of gratitude in their life that they may not normally get. So they're automatically going to be raised to a more positive mental state. And then when you go and read back all of your gratitude things, you'll pull out their paper and say, oh yeah, this is when Tim and Joanne came over and, had dinner with us. This is a really cool thing to be grateful for. I didn't know that about them, and it'll deepen your relationships with other people. So I just think it's a cool tool, and I think it's something to help keep us in that positive frame of mind. So positive mental attitude, number one, and one of the most important. They're all really important, but I think this is one that is another level up. So number two, second leg of the success pyramid is resilience. So if you don't know what resilience is, it's the ability to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. So I don't know about you guys out there, but I played sports, I watched sports, not as much anymore, but I do pay attention to football, baseball, things like that. So think about it like this. It's bottom of the ninth in baseball. You're down 2-0, and you and your team got to decide. Do you throw in the towel and say, this one's in the bag, nice try, but we didn't quite do it, we're going to win the next one? Or do you come out swinging? Do you get up off the mat and keep fighting? That's what resilience is. To quote Les Brown, if you can look up, you can get up. So anytime you get knocked down, how are you going to handle it? How you handle it shows your resilience level. So you can either roll over and quit and say, oh, it wasn't meant for me, in regards to entrepreneurship, or you can say, hey, this happens. It's part of the game. And as one of my mentors says, you can charge it to the game and then just get up and keep going, keep pursuing what you want through these ups and downs of life that we all go through. And one of the tips to help you guys through the tough times is lean on your vision. So if you're in business, if you are dreaming or have any sort of aspirations or goals in your life, you've got a vision for how you are as a person or what your mission is. You have a vision of it in the future. So go back to that, journal about it. If you have journaled about it already, maybe like reread the journals that you've already written and, put it back to the forefront of your mind. Get your mind back on the vision, lean on that vision, lean on your why to keep you resilient and push you through those times when you're ready to quit. I think there was a Donald Trump quote floating around a while ago where he said basically on his path to where he's at now, he cried hundreds of times. He wanted to quit every day. But the big thing is he was resilient and he kept going. So resilience, leg number two. And the third and final leg of the success pyramid is humility. So pride comes before the fall. I just actually heard one of my mentors say that early on in his networking career, he had gotten to a point where he was earning about $1.6 million a year, which is amazing, right? 7-figure earner in this industry is happening more and more now, but it's like mind-blowing stuff. So 1.6 million a year he was making. Well, he had a little ego problem at the time and thought he was who he was because he was making 7 figures in the industry. And over a period of weeks or months, he got smacked down to $90,000. in income. So to go from 7 figures to 5 figures, which, everybody has their own circumstances. So for some people, 90,000, you're still on easy street. But for him, he was accustomed to a 7 figure lifestyle. He probably was living on a 7 figure means. I mean, he's pretty smart financially, so I doubt he was living on 100% of his income. But he was probably living a lot higher than a $90,000 a year person would live. So when you get knocked down to that level, it's hard to deal with. I mean, and for you, it might be a little bit different, but for him, that was a struggle. And he was, I just heard the story a little while ago. He was in his townhouse crying at that time, praying and saying, God, I promise if you just get me back somewhere to where I was, so I can live my life and move forward and get me out of these dark times, I will do everything that I think you would want me to do. I will be humble. I will be a servant. I will put you first. So, it was rough for him, but he learned a lesson because he lacked that humility. God kind of laughed at him and said, all right, you're going to, think it's all you or think you're the only reason that you got to where you are. Here you go. I'm going to take it all away. And I think, you have to go through those times to grow as a person. And really, any tough times in your life, just remember they're happening for you, not to you. And I think that's one of the earlier episodes of the podcast. I think episode 2 or 3 talks about your life is happening for you, not to you. So as bad as things get, just know that there's something you're supposed to learn from it. And what kind of sucks about it is if you don't learn that lesson, you'll keep going back to those circumstances. So anytime you go through something negative, it's important to really reflect on it and make sure you're getting out of it what God and the universe want you to get out of it. So, and then finally, I had here, if you're in any sort of business, this still falls under humility, but if you're in any sort of business, the two foundational principles really of getting your people to follow you and building an organization that thrives is number one, putting God first, or putting whatever you believe in. I happen to believe in God, but putting God first and just loving people. I mean, if you just focus on those two things, that alone will keep you humble and keep you in a state of humility and help you towards success in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So the pyramid of success, just to recap, you have 1, positive mental attitude, PMA. Number 2 is resilience. And number 3 is humility. So going forward, if you just keep those 3 concepts at the forefront of your mind and do whatever you can do to live more in accordance with all of them, I think you'll start to see your life change for the better. So that's it for me today. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're on the audio podcast, give us a like, subscribe, share on Apple iTunes podcasts. Give us a review too. That would help grow the show. Anything you can do, we really appreciate it. Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And remember, as always, if your mind ain't right, your game ain't tight. See you guys. Love you all. Until next time, Jimbo signing off.